Right, over
Okay,
to you then, Karen. Thanks.
thank you. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Resit roadmaps supporting students during resits. So this is work that I got involved in as part of an ITL Institute of Teaching and Learning fellowship, and I'm based at the University of Manchester. Okay, so of course we know that resits provide students with a second chance. But for various reasons, students may not have passed a unit or a module. Students with resits can often lack academic confidence, so they're not quite sure, where to go to next. They might realise why they've not passed an assessment, but they may find it difficult to seek advice, and if they're really struggling, how to turn kind of failure on a particular unit or module into success. And we know from a university perspective that resits and interruption as well actually are a significant barrier and problem to continuation. So we've looked at kind of numbers within psychology where I'm based, and we're kind of up to 10% of students are getting resits of some components, and that translates into kind of higher years into master's courses as well, kind of 5 to 7% approximately. So we know then that the university plays a critical role in providing support to these students, and it's often an area that's kind of not really recognised or appreciated. So what we decided to do was to look at, in the first stage of this project, which is what I'm going to be talking predominantly about today, about working to try to identify what strategies are already in place at the University of Manchester, and what students like and what they don't like, and if they had any suggestions for things that they would like to see implemented. So I worked with a team of student partners, and the student partners ran the focus groups, groups of up to 10 students. I think we had 12 groups, and we asked a series of questions to students, asking them what kind of support they would like if they were doing resits, and what was already in place and what they would like. So they didn't necessarily have to have undertaken or been awarded resits, but they were kind of thinking hypothetically. And in fact, we asked them not to talk about their personal circumstances. And what we did with our notes then was we tried to do some sort of qualitative thematic analysis, looking at kind of the themes that came through from the students. And we grouped these into three key things. So the first thing was kind of regarding contact. So students quite often felt like they'd been left to it. They felt out of touch, isolated. Nobody was in contact with them. They knew they had the resits to come back to at the end of August, but they didn't really know kind of what went wrong, who to contact, how to contact them, etc. And so useful strategies on the back of this might be to provide a point of contact at the university and provide them with a peer mentor that they could contact to talk about or discuss resits. Second sort of thing they were talking about was content. Okay, so if they didn't understand or didn't know what the content was to begin with, they didn't really know how to improve. So for our psychology units, quite often this involves statistics. So if they didn't understand it first time round, or they didn't get it first time round, they didn't know how to improve or what they needed to do to increase their level of content in order to pass that unit. So here we were kind of thinking the kind of strategies students suggested were, if somebody could go over what I did wrong, what I did right, that would be really helpful. Or providing kind of hypothetical example questions with hints, catch-up classes, for example, with statistics, if we have a group or cohort of students. So they're starting to think about kind of identifying the problem, but also thinking about how we could improve or facilitate that problem, strategies that might help. The third sort of thing then is confidence. So students kind of reported feeling underconfident with their resits. They don't know where to start. They think they're always going to do badly at it. They're not confident. They don't know what to do. And so here we thought, thank you, Katie, we thought that an advantage might be to try to kind of boost their self-efficacy, try to give them access to kind of study skills, confidence boosting strategies, goal setting, all those sorts of things were things that might be useful. Resit roadmaps are the thing that we're going to next. We kind of established the fundamental problems associated with resits and what students are saying is the problem. And we've started to identify some of the strategies that might help. And here we're trying to kind of integrate these things into these Resit roadmaps. So clear signposting of resources, points of contact, and how students can remain engaged and in contact with their course and their teaching community. Kind of personalised feedback on content about what they have gone wrong and where they might help to improve, and gaps in knowledge, and structured opportunities for goal setting and improving self-efficacy, which might improve their self-confidence. So these kind of strategies map back onto the identified problems. So what we're doing next is trying to introduce these at the University of Manchester and evaluate their impact on Resit performance.